Have you ever wondered why some elderly people seem to be full of energy while many of us barely have enough for an ordinary day? In this video, we will try to uncover the secret of the vitality that allows them to enjoy every moment, even in old age. It's not magic, but the result of certain habits and mindsets. Get ready, because we are going to talk about 11 things that not everyone can achieve, but with these tips, you can significantly improve your quality of life. Let's start with the first point. Have you managed to maintain a sharp mind and the ability to see through people's tricks? Most of us believe we can easily detect deceit, as if we had a certain intuition. But that's not true. Let's understand why this ability is so important. In a world where tricks and scams have become commonplace, having the ability to think clearly is like a protective shield. Imagine someone tries to offer you a great deal. With critical thinking, you not only avoid falling into the trap but might even outsmart the dishonest seller. How can this be achieved? It's not a secret and has nothing to do with magic. It's about constantly developing your thinking, keeping your curiosity alive, and continually learning new skills. The renowned neuroscientist David Ilma suggests that regularly learning new skills, such as a foreign language or a musical instrument, helps keep the brain in good shape. Now, let's talk about psychological traps. Did you know that many unscrupulous companies use subtle psychological tricks to manipulate your decisions? They create a trusting atmosphere, elicit pleasant emotions, and then try to sell you products you don't really need. It's like attending a family gathering only to end up being sold a vacuum cleaner. But with a sharp mind, you can see through these tricks and avoid being deceived. The famous psychologist Robert Cialdini describes in his book, Influence, the principles of manipulation that dishonest sellers often use. Knowing these principles is like having a map of scams. For example, the principle of reciprocity. If someone gives you something, you automatically feel obliged to give something in return. But when you have a sharp mind, you can recognize such manipulations and calmly say, "Thank you, but I don't need it," without feeling guilty. Keeping a sharp mind also means staying up to date with new technologies. You might think that it's unnecessary to learn new technologies at an older age. But that's not true. Even basic knowledge can protect you from online scams. The most important thing is not to lose curiosity and to keep training your mind. Solve puzzles, read books, engage in discussions with others. The second important point is to keep your body in good shape. Have you ever imagined reaching 80 years old and still having strength and mobility? Many people think that it's impossible to be physically fit in old age. But it all depends on how you treat your body. It's enough to perform moderate physical activities regularly to be able to enjoy life even in old age. Examples can include famous actors, athletes, and ordinary people who lead an active life into their old age. What does it really mean to be in good shape at 70 or 80 years old? It does not mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It means being able to dress yourself, prepare food, or even help the kids with household chores. When your body is active and agile, not only do you feel better, but you also set a positive example for your loved ones. Maintaining physical fitness is not just self-care but also a contribution to the well-being of the entire family. Would you want your children to visit you because they need to take care of you, or because they want to spend time with you and enjoy your company? The choice is obvious. The importance of physical activity is backed by numerous studies. It has been found that regular physical exercise reduces the risk of developing dementia by 50%. And you don't have to be an Olympic champion. Small steps like daily walks or yoga are enough. The third aspect is passion, which brings color to life. Imagine that you're 80 years old and telling your grandchildren about your daily activities. Instead of watching TV all day, you're attending a painting class or playing chess. Does it seem impossible? It's a matter of choice. Finding a passion that stimulates your mind and brings you joy is possible at any age. People who maintain active hobbies are less likely to suffer from memory loss and retain a clear mind for longer. And it doesn't necessarily have to be intellectual activities. You can take up singing, dancing, or gardening. What's important is that it makes you happy. Remember that retirement is not the end, but the beginning of new adventures. Don't be afraid to try new things, because the ability to maintain the youthfulness of the spirit does not depend on age. Every new skill is a step towards keeping your thinking active and your attitude positive. The fourth aspect is social connections. Imagine your life as a network. The more connections you have, the stronger your bond with the world. In old age, when many friends and acquaintances have already left this world, it is especially important to maintain contact with those around you. Studies show that elderly people with active social connections live longer and feel happier. It is a kind of youth elixir that nourishes not only the body but also the mind. Social connections have the unique ability to strengthen our emotional well-being and even improve cognitive functions. Every conversation is a kind of brain training that helps maintain the flexibility of thinking and emotional stability. If you think you're a lone wolf, remember, even wolves live in packs. Loneliness can be dangerous to your health, as it is as harmful as smoking. So, instead of locking yourself up, look for opportunities to interact. You can start with small steps: call an old friend, make new acquaintances, join a club, or simply say hello to your neighbor on the street. All these little actions have great significance. If you think you have nothing to say, remember, every person has rich experiences and knowledge to share. Tell your stories, share your memories, and even your mistakes. You'll be surprised how easy it is to strengthen these connections. The fifth important point is financial stability. Imagine that you've reached 75, enjoying a peaceful retirement, and don't have to worry about making ends meet. Unfortunately, this is more of a dream for many people. Why is that? Because most people don't plan their finances in advance and often rely on external help. According to a recent study, only 13% of people over the age of 60 feel financially secure, while the rest live in a state of constant economic uncertainty. Financial stability in old age doesn't just mean having large savings. It's about being able to live without relying on your children or the government, without feeling like a burden to your family. It's the ability to occasionally afford small pleasures, like treating your grandchildren to ice cream, without worrying about your bank account. But if you haven't started saving yet, don't worry, it's never too late to begin. As Warren Buffett said, don't spend what's left after spending, spend what's left after saving. Even if you're over 50, it's still worth starting to save. It's like planting a tree, better late than never. Remember that financial stability is not just about money, but also about peace of mind, independence, and the ability to enjoy life without worrying about the future. The sixth aspect is gratitude. Most people think that gratitude is simply saying, "thank you," as a polite response to someone's kindness. But in reality, gratitude is a powerful tool that can change your life. It helps you focus on positive moments instead of problems. The famous psychologist Martin Seligman has shown that practicing gratitude regularly increases happiness, reduces stress, and even improves health. How can you start cultivating gratitude in your daily life? Here are some tips. Keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things every night that you are grateful for. They can be small or large. What's important is that you acknowledge their value. Walks outdoors can also be an opportunity to notice something beautiful around you: blooming trees, rays of sunshine, smiling faces. Another way is to write thank you letters to those who have impacted your life. Don't be ashamed to share your feelings, as it strengthens bonds and brings joy to both the recipient and yourself. Create your own happiness jar. Every time something good happens, write it down on a piece of paper and put it in the jar. On tough days, open it and read those beautiful memories. Another effective way is to try to go through a day without complaining. Instead of complaining, look for the positives, even in difficult situations. It's like a challenge for yourself. Instead of getting lost in troubles, focus on the good. Remember that gratitude is like a muscle that needs to be trained regularly. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to find the positives in everyday life. The seventh aspect is continuous learning. Many people believe that the ability to learn disappears with age. But that's not true. The brain can be trained just like the body, and if you keep it regularly in good shape, it can work just as well as in your youth. Learning new skills slows down brain aging and prevents the development of many diseases. For example, learning a foreign language or playing a musical instrument activates those areas of the brain that usually sleep. You don't need to set difficult goals. The most important thing is that learning is interesting to you. Have you always dreamed of painting or playing the piano? Now you have time to fulfill your dreams. Or maybe it's worth learning to use new apps on your phone to surprise your grandchildren and show that you're up to date. Age is just a number that should not limit your desire to acquire knowledge. The eighth aspect is keeping an open mind. How often do we become prisoners of our own stereotypes and outdated beliefs? The ability to stay open to new ideas and perspectives is the key to maintaining the youthfulness of the spirit and mental clarity. The renowned psychologist Carol Dweck concluded in her research that people with a growth mindset, those who believe in their ability to change, tend to be happier and healthier in old age. How can this be achieved? Imagine your mind is a house with many doors and windows. If you close all the doors and windows, you remain trapped in the world of your old beliefs and prejudices. Instead, leave the windows open, let new ideas in like a fresh breeze, and try to look at things from a different perspective. Remember the words of the Roman philosopher Seneca, "As long as I live, I will continue to learn." Openness to the new means being willing to expand your horizons and seek answers to new questions, even if you think you already know everything. What benefits does this bring? Openness is like a continuous discovery of the world, where every day you learn something new. It doesn't mean you have to agree with all opinions, but it does mean you are willing to listen, analyze, and form your own opinion without rejecting someone else's view just because it's different. Be that wise grandparent who always has something interesting to share, is curious about new things, and doesn't judge the younger generation for their views. The ninth aspect is having a harmonious relationship with your children. Raising small children isn't easy, but sometimes it's even harder to maintain a good relationship with adult children. Imagine you have reached old age and can talk with your grown-up son or daughter without conflict or tension. That's like a superpower. How is it possible? It's about the ability to listen. It doesn't mean simply staying silent while someone else speaks, but really hearing what the other person is trying to say. If your children avoid talking to you or openly get angry, remember the old parable about the man who tried to restore the connection with his son, who refused to speak with him. Instead of forcing the communication, he planted a tree in front of his house and took care of it silently. Over time, the son's curiosity overcame his anger, and he asked about the tree. That's how a new dialogue between father and son began. The moral of this story is that unconditional love and patience can break barriers that seemed impossible to overcome. So, if you have a strained relationship with your children, give them space, but stay open to contact. Another important point is empathy. Put yourself in your children's place and try to understand their point of view. Yes, their fashion or interests may seem strange to you, but they live in a world that is very different from the one you grew up in. Remember that understanding doesn't mean agreeing. It's more about respecting their choices and wanting to be on the same wavelength. If you want to build harmonious relationships, remember active listening. Don't impose your opinion but instead talk about your feelings and use I messages. For example, instead of saying, "You always ignore me," try saying, "I feel sad when we don't talk." This approach creates an atmosphere where there is room for dialogue instead of mutual accusations. The 10th aspect is practicing generosity. What makes a superhero truly strong? The ability to positively impact the lives of others. And everyone has this ability, regardless of age or financial situation. Generosity isn't just about money, it's also about time, attention, and support. It's like planting a tree whose shade you may never sit under, but which will benefit others in the future. The renowned psychologist Elizabeth Dunn found that spending money on others can make us happier than spending it on ourselves. But generosity isn't just about money. Volunteering, helping neighbors, or even a simple smile are examples of generosity. Scientists have proven that even small acts of kindness can activate the areas of the brain responsible for satisfaction and joy. So, when you do something good, you're not just helping someone else, you're also giving yourself positive emotions. How to start practicing generosity? Start with simple things. For example, smile at someone on the street, even if they're wearing a mask. Help a neighbor carry heavy groceries, or take a few minutes to listen to a friend without constantly checking your phone. All these small actions have a greater impact than it may seem at first glance. Generosity is contagious because every act of kindness creates a ripple that spreads far beyond what we can see. And finally, the 11th aspect, living with purpose. How do you maintain the passion for life, even in old age? The secret lies in having a purpose that motivates you to get up every morning. It can be something very simple, like taking care of the garden, cooking, or wanting to be the best grandparent in the world. A purpose helps you move forward, gives value to every moment, and inspires new goals. The famous psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of Nazi concentration camps, said that purpose is what helps a person move forward, even in the most difficult situations. It doesn't matter what the purpose is, the important thing is that it's your personal motivation, which gives meaning to each day. How to find your purpose? Think about what you're so passionate about that you lose track of time. Maybe it's creativity, volunteering, helping others, or simply wanting to make the world a better place. Reflect on what you're good at and how these skills can benefit others. Don't be afraid to set new goals, even if you think you've already achieved everything you wanted. People with a clear purpose live longer, get sick less often, and have better mental health. A purpose is not just a grand plan for your entire life, but also small steps every day. For example, you might set yourself the goal of becoming an expert in a certain field, sharing your knowledge with others, or simply making the world around you a better place. It doesn't matter what the purpose is, the most important thing is that it motivates and inspires you to take new actions. So now that you know these 11 aspects for a long, happy, and healthy life, which one would you like to apply in your life? If you've read this far, it means you already have the desire to change your life for the better. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more useful tips, and share this video with those who might find it helpful. Remember, your life is in your hands, make it meaningful, no matter your age.